Hey guys, welcome back to the Greenback Voyage podcast. I'm your host, Shravan.
And I'm your co-host Joel.
And this week, well, we can start off with some quick updates that have happened in the past week. So we can start off with some coronavirus news. I know AstraZeneca, they kind of fucked up big time. They provided, I guess, additional confusion for most of the population with their data for clinical trials and how much efficacy their vaccines have. I mean, it was ranging from like 76 to 80. And then I think the FDA announced some like it was some like disaster that happened that made the data not valid. I don't know. I don't know if you know anything more about that, but that's what I've been hearing.
Yeah, they're going through a lot of hurdles with their vaccines. Right, but I'm pretty. Don't we have a purchase order with them? Because
Yeah,
we
only
are
if the
giving
FDA
some of our
approves it.
supply
Yeah.
to Canada and Mexico. Um, I think it's a AstraZeneca vaccine that we're giving. I believe so.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I don't know where it's gonna go. What we do know for certain, though, is the new vaccine goal. I think Biden announced, I think around 200 million Americans by the end of April should be vaccinated. And states have also, given like tentative start dates for when their vaccines will be available for all its citizens. Of course, the state we're in right now, Virginia, is May 1st. So we're one of the last states to fully open, which is great news. But yeah, I mean, children vaccine trials are ahead for both Pfizer and Moderna. I mean, they're like way ahead of the pack right now. I'm guessing like within the next year they should have something out there.
mhm.
Along with that, I mean, we had GameStop volatility continue. I know you were talking about the earnings last week. You want to dive more into it?
Well, I didn't follow any the earnings report. Um, but did you see any what did they post
I
in terms of
mean,
revenue?
all I remember is like, it was worse than expected, the usual
Of
stuff that you
course.
expect from GameStop. Don't really know the exact figures. All I know is that I believe it like plunged about 12 to 15% after hours. And then
Mhm.
of course like the next day in trading it just jumps 50%. I I
Yeah,
don't even know
that I
how.
saw that because so basically the guy who founded Chewy who got on the board, right?
Hmm.
They're going through a management change and they announced I believe it was the CFO who was stepping down. And his name's Ryan Cohen, right? The Chewy founder.
Yeah.
Right. So he's trying to completely change the GameStop management and take it in a whole new level or a whole new direction. So that's why the stock gained 50%. Um, so
50%.
yeah, I think it was around
You're
50%.
telling me
AMC was also up.
they gain, what is that? Around a couple billion in market cap for their CFO stepping down?
Yeah, I mean it's a huge there's a huge factor of speculation as well. I mean, for a stock to do that in 2021 it's not unusual, to be fair.
Yeah, but
uh
all right, I guess. I mean, I remember when Campbell's CEO died like a while back. Their stock rose by like 20%. I mean, yeah,
yeah.
some managers just really suck, and I guess GameStop is one of them.
There see people the thing about GameStop is people view it as some type of growth play or some technology stock where the whole management's going to turn this company around. I don't see that happening at all.
No,
Um
I mean,
yeah,
there's
so
only so much you can do, and yeah, I mean, Best Buy is above you. You have Amazon competing. You're against Microsoft's own, store, where you can just buy games off Microsoft or PlayStation. Like, why go to GameStop? The only reason I'd go to GameStop is for their pre-owned games, if I'm lucky.
mhm, yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, because Amazon, the all the most of the e-commerce guys, they sell a wide array of products, right?
Yeah.
GameStop is more of a niche market, right, just for gamers.
Hmm.
So, and I mean, if you go to their stores or their brick and mortar stores, it's all CDs and DVD formats, right?
Yeah.
for your console, obviously. But now, well, what we're going, Microsoft and PlayStations, they're going in this completely non-digital. You can go on the stores. You can right, if you go on like Xbox Live Store or something, and you can just buy the game off there, just in the comfort of your home. And the Xbox and PlayStations come with, you know, a huge hard drive, so there's no need for you to go to GameStop.
Yeah, I mean, I think I also heard GameStop is going to be selling, you know, graphics cards and some other PC parts on their website, so maybe that induced some of the run. But still, I mean, it's still ridiculous how much it's moving. Yeah, I guess one last piece of news. This one's very interesting. There was a report out there that newborn babies, I guess, like the birth rate itself, they've decreased in the past year. I think in some areas like China, Russia, and all, you have over 12% of a decrease, which is kind of catastrophic in terms of where the world population is. Because I know each and every year that whoever, I think it's the UN who posts like their estimated global population. And each year the slope has been declining pretty drastically in the past 3 years, especially. I know like some EU nations, their like birth rates are like 1.83 babies per family. So it's even below like the 2 threshold, which is insane.
Yeah. So this is a trend. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
For the past like few years.
Yeah, it's been a trend. So while we think overpopulation, it could be like, you know, possibly a negative thing in the future, I don't see it happening at all. In like, you know, in the time frame that some analysts say it will. So something to think about.
We're probably not to the point where like overpopulation is going to exhaust like a huge amount of resource in the world. Of course, too much of anything is bad, right?
Yeah.
But we're not there. I don't think we're there yet. But to see birth rate drop, that could be a pattern of maybe like young people not wanting to reproduce as much as you know, a few decades ago.
I mean, it's also more costly now, because you have formulas, you have so many like defect rates that are popping over the world now. And I mean, along with that, I'm pretty sure that India and China, there's like in the next decade itself, they will start losing population growth. Like it will start to go in the negative range, which, I mean, it's concerning a bit, but I guess when you know, go from 1980 to like 2000, I think they were at like 500 million to now like 1.8 billion. I mean, something's got to give at some point. I think it's kind of a rebalancing act is what we're seeing.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't want a situation like Japan, where so well, let's move on to banks. We had a huge unusual event that happened with Goldman Sachs. You want to continue on that?
Yeah, I mean, on Friday itself, over $35 billion from sort of bellwether stocks, you can call it, from Chinese ADR technology giants like Baidu, Alibaba, and all, and some U.S. media companies. And it was just $35 billion of block trades. I think yesterday it was reported that 10.5 came from Goldman, some from Morgan Stanley, with some of the trades exceeding over $1 billion. And normally you don't see these. Normally they're executed after hours, or there's some backdoor deals happening where they can trade it to another customer. But maybe they're trying to reallocate their funds. I don't know. Seems like a lot that they're doing, because some of them, like Baidu, was at 170, which is about 15% down from open, when it was at like 2 p.m. before it rose another 15% and closed at 208, I think, which that was insane. I didn't even notice that until yesterday itself. Other companies like Viacom, like CBS and Discovery, they both shot down over like 50%. I know it's like over the past 4 days, and Wells Fargo kind of downgraded their stock, but still, like Goldman was reported like almost $1.2 billion shedding equity within these two companies, which
Wow.
That's insane. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to think of it. It could be a warning sign, or, I think the Federal Reserve also said that it plans to lift restrictions on bank dividends and share buybacks after June 30th.
Yep.
So it could possibly be like a move to save some capital for future growth. But still, like 35 billion is still, it's a lot.
So yeah, I mean, for any of our viewers who don't know what a block trade is, basically it's a high volume transaction that is privately negotiated, and it's also executed outside, the public market. So, and usually a block trade it has to be over like 100,000, I think it's 10,000 shares of the particular stock, and but in practice it's usually like in the 100 millions or more. And to see 35 billion from Goldman Sachs, well, is it it's completely it's across most of the investment banking, or is it 35
35 billion across is, I think, 10.5 from Goldman itself.
Well, yeah, that's still a huge amount of money. I mean,
Yeah.
10.5 from Goldman in a day, selling out of most of these Chinese stocks. Yeah, so they could be anticipating could be some trade war, could be some new legislation. I mean, these guys are the ones who have the insider information.
Yeah.
So it's noteworthy to look at what these guys are doing. So
Yeah.
we'll have, yeah.
I mean, we'll have to see what goes on there. But I think we can move on to, I think, the biggest news of the week: the Suez Canal incident with Evergreen. Wow, I don't think anyone expected this coming. Actually, I'll rephrase that. Everyone expected this coming. It was just a matter of time. I don't think anyone expected it to come, and possibly one of the worst years for supply chain that we've seen.
Yep.
I mean, it's been stuck there since what, Tuesday morning or something like that.
Yeah. When I first saw it on Twitter, like, I thought it would be fixed within a few like hours or something. I didn't expect it to be like, I didn't take it too seriously. I was like, okay, boat's stuck. Maybe they'll bring in like 5 or 6 tugboats and maybe dig a little out of the sand and put the boat back in. But to take over like a few days and losing hundreds of millions of dollars in potential trade, oil went up. I mean, if you saw like oil futures, they were like popping off.
They shot off after, I think they said like Suez Canal won't get out for like 9 days.
There's like hundreds, maybe thousands of ships that were blocked. Now they're taking, the route down South Africa. They're going that way, which actually takes
weeks.
It takes more time to travel to Europe that way. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of insane. I mean, to see like where a small stream of water, and that anything, if some major shit happens there, it has the potential to block more than 10% of global trade and disrupt supply chains. So I mean, they should, I mean, for something like for this of huge of a magnitude, that what they should do is maybe like, you know how there's like two streams of water that go through the Mediterranean from the Red Sea, right? Maybe you can make another canal or like a,
I think they were planning to back in the 90s or 80s, but it was through the Palestinian land back then, and they didn't want to upset both Israel and Palestine, so they kind of gave up on that route.
Right. It probably would have been through like that area is called the Sinai Peninsula. And,
it would just been through the other side of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, reading some of like the reports of previous captains that have gone through these waters, it suggested that something like this was bound to happen. Apparently there's at least like 10 incidents per year where something like this happens. It just so happens that the Evergreen, if you rotate it on it and measure it vertically, it's higher than the Empire State Building. So I mean, it gets stuck. And yeah, I mean, it is one of the largest shipping containers, so it's just bad luck on top of bad luck. But honestly, I think Egypt should have realized something like this was going to happen, especially seeing how That's such a thin strip. I didn't realize how thin that was.
No, yeah, it's
I
incredibly
always
thin
thought it was,
for the ship.
I was like, oh, I remember reading about it, like first reading about it. I'm like, oh, 13% of the world's trade goes through this. I mean, it must be pretty big, but no, like Egypt is, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, man. But
Yeah,
yes,
it could be negligence. It could be like just
I
pure
mean,
bad luck.
yeah, so many
But
things could happen. But now they're, I think a rough estimate from Lloyd's List, they were marking it about $400 million an hour that,
jeez.
yeah,
Whoa.
that the global economy is losing based on this.
Yeah, actually, Caterpillar, right?
Yeah.
The construction company, they also came out in public statements said the Suez Canal is directly affecting them. They're not getting their products. They're not getting some of their parts and things like
Hmm.
that. Their stock went up 2 or 3% that day.
And even
Um,
VW, their new EV cars,
mhm,
they were on that one of those ships that is now blocked.
yeah.
So it's a logistical nightmare.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
man,
Well, gasoline, oil, they had a great rally.
I mean, 6% in one day, that's also unheard of since the
Yeah.
80s, I think. So, I
Yep.
mean, it's popping off. And it doesn't look like it's going to be removed any soon because the tidal movements didn't look hopeful at all.
So
Um,
I read a report a few days ago saying that the rudder and the engine they got it to start and they're trying to reverse it out. Um, but I don't see much progress being made.
no, I don't know either. I mean,
It's just
the only option they have now is to lighten the
Mhm.
ship, I think.
yeah, that's also the thing. They have to start taking the containers out of the ship,
Hmm.
and transfer it to another ship. That's the only thing.
And that would take at
Or just
least a
put it on the
week.
or just put it on the ground on the side.
Hmm.
You would make like a makeshift platform or something like that. I don't know. But you have to lower the load off the ship and slowly take it out. So,
But yeah,
um,
whatever it is, I mean, it's going to be expensive. I like Bloomberg's report says that if there was any helicopter help to remove those containers, they cost about 20K an hour to do.
yeah,
So yeah, I
yeah,
might be in the wrong profession as well. So I might have to like shift myself over to Egypt and get myself on one of those helicopters.
yeah. Well, we'll see how this goes. This is going to be major news for the next week as well. So,
Yeah,
um, well, let's move on to some politics on the American side.
yeah.
Uh,
I guess the other big news of the week,
so so
kind of drowned
Biden.
out. But yeah, go
Right.
ahead.
So Biden was talking about the $3 trillion infrastructure plan, right?
Hmm.
So what the Democrats are right now, they're going to consider increasing taxes. How else are they going to fund this? You can't ask the Fed to print more money for this. Um, so, so Biden is going to from what he's saying in the past like 3 months he's been in office, he's going to be very aggressive on tax rates. He's going to increase the corporate tax. He's going to increase the income tax. And also something interesting I found out is he is also looking at taxing unrealized gains. So
Really?
if you hold a stock from $100 to, and let's say appreciates to $200, that $100 value is you might have to file it in your tax return, and this I mean think about it. I mean Elon Musk was made the richest guy in the world, and a year later if Biden implements this plan, I mean think about the taxes he must have to pay.
Yeah, that would be insane. But I know, they don't always pay it. I know the IRS made a report recently as well, suggesting that over like the 1% of the wealthiest people in the US, they haven't paid, I think, around 17% of taxes
Uh,
that they should have.
all right, maybe not 1%, but you're maybe let's say like a $10 million investor who has $10 million portfolio,
Okay, yeah.
and it appreciates. Let's say he has it all in like the S&P 500,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole point is, compound interest, right? So let's say it appreciates 10%, so that's $1 million, and that $1 million is, you have to file it in your tax returns, and Biden will put whatever tax rate on that. So it's gonna kill long-term growth by a huge margin. I mean, if the tax rate is near 20, maybe 30%, maybe even if it's like 15 or 20%, that still is gonna kill your compound growth rate, right?
I don't think it's going to be that much. I think they're suggesting maybe like 2 to like 4%.
Okay.
Because most of the trades, most of the gains that they're going after is Wall Street. So I know,
Right.
like, every trade you make, I think Kamala Harris was suggesting that every trade you make, you have to pay a 0.01 or 0.1% tax on it, which for
See,
like
that
the quant investors and all, that would kill them.
Yeah. See, that is much better than having just a capital gains tax for the annual year. So if you just bring it all the way down to like a small tax per trade or a small fee per trade that goes to the IRS, instead of having like a 35% capital gains tax, that's going to be much better in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So, but it seems like they're going to do both. I mean, that's just tax, both taxes on your stock trades.
I mean, I will kind of admit the way the US economy has been in the past 10 years, I mean, the bull market's something we've never seen before. Maybe it is time for some break in it, and maybe it's time for international stocks to take another rise at it. So I think it's just reallocating your portfolio properly, I think is the key thing. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't personally like it. Maybe it's more for selfish reasons, I guess, for future me. But yeah. And
I mean, yeah. Once you start paying taxes, you'll turn a bit more Republican.
yeah, won't we all? I mean, that's the main point of this podcast, to see how we change our ideals as we go on. Like 5 years down the line, I'm pretty sure half the stuff I'm saying I won't agree with anymore.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. But yeah, in final news, major news, jobless claims have reached their lowest level of the pandemic last week. I think they're around 684,000 now.
Yep, this is a level we haven't crossed for 52 weeks, so
Nice.
This is great news.
That is great.
We just have to vaccinate everyone and take off these damn masks and go back to normal. That's
Yeah.
what we need to do.
I swear, man. I'm thinking of getting contacts now with the way, if these masks get put on me any longer.
Yeah, the fog, man. It
so annoys me with glasses.
I kind of got adjusted to it. I don't even care anymore. It's been a year. So,
no, I still get used to it. Oh man.
Well, yeah. So.
But yeah, I think right now we can take a little break. So yeah, go take some snacks, folks. Have some, take some stretches, and we'll get back to you with some tech news as well as some foreign politics. Podcasts are on the rise, and if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you on multiple platforms, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one single place, and you don't have to worry about any costs or overbearing difficulties. So why wait now? If you're ready to start a podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, now back to some tech news. I know that Microsoft and Discord have been reported to sort of make an arrangement for about $10 billion, not that much. I think it's going to be Microsoft's biggest acquisition, if it's made, since LinkedIn, which they bought for, I think, $21 billion. Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting to hear about this, especially since Discord themselves aren't even profitable. They never set themselves out to be profitable.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, I don't think Microsoft's going for the fundamentals. Most likely, they're probably going for the gaming aspect, huge gaming community. I mean, everyone who's a gamer uses Discord. And not only that, I mean, I'm pretty sure, I mean, in my classes, we all, for each of the class, I mean, the first day of the school or the class, there's always someone out there who makes a Discord server. Okay, so in for communication, especially amongst young people, Discord is like a go-to platform. And they're probably looking at integration with the Xbox platform for Discord. That would be like a huge boost. And for the Xbox platform, and give it kind of an edge over PlayStation. And under Microsoft's management, Discord has huge potential to grow even more. It could become like a huge social media platform. So for like a gaming community.
Yeah, I just hope they just don't fully integrate it with the Xbox platform, and we can use it on our own, like we're doing right now.
Yeah. They're not gonna change like the web service for Discord. I don't think that's gonna. There's no point in changing that. So it won't be like I don't think it will be an exclusive for Xbox only thing.
Okay.
It'll be like an additional thing that they'll do.
All right. Yeah, I think they're just trying to get back for how the TikTok scandal kind of went for them. So, and
that was a huge thing back in summer. I mean, everyone was talking about it. And now no one cares.
Because I think the deal just didn't go through because Biden came in. So it's like, why even bother anymore? But yeah, I think it kind of shows how powerful Trump was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. For 2 weeks, everyone was arguing about who's taking over TikTok.
Yeah. If people are making plays on that, and then Oracle comes out of nowhere. Takes the deal,
which still hasn't gone through yet.
Yeah, it wasn't like an official thing. They just said they're pursuing, or they're taking the first few steps to make a deal, and then Walmart comes out of nowhere. Their stock went flying for like a second and it came back down.
I mean, that's insane. Now that we think about it, I mean, in hindsight, everything looks more clear. But man. Yeah, I think with Microsoft especially, I don't know if you know ZeniMax. They're a video game developer, and they create games like Dishonored and The Evil Within. So those are really great games. They bought them for, I think, $7.5 billion like a couple months ago. So they're really trying to, I think, regenerate their gaming sector. Especially, I think they own Mixer, right? I think that was their thing. Yeah, so they're trying to, I guess, revitalize it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. They're trying to dominate the gaming industry, have an edge over PlayStation and Sony. So,
yeah. Some other small news. We got the new the big tech CEO's house hearing. That's still going on. Basically, boomers versus entrepreneurs, in my opinion. But yeah, I guess you can talk more about it.
When you watch some of these hearings, there's some representatives who know what they're talking about, and there's always the few that don't have any idea what they're talking about.
That's like the main headline.
Themselves. Yeah, and well, you had Jack Dorsey, Mark Zuckerberg, and Sundar Pichai. This has been going on. I mean, they had a few other hearings back a few months ago. It's just I forgot the bill name. It's something about social media and their power, social media companies and their power to control the users, speech and all that stuff. I forgot the number for the bill, but they at some section in some bill that was written a few decades ago, and basically, the Republicans want to revise that bill because they see as social media companies having too much power over censoring their users. I mean,
it's normal stuff. Will it happen? We don't know.
Yeah, the bill just basically says that social media has the power to control everything that their users do, right? So people want to revise that, and that's kind of why we have big tech CEOs coming on talking about some of the stuff, and some of the lawmakers trying to grill them, and so that's all we have. It's been going on. So
yeah, And I know I mentioned Intel last week. They were releasing their new plans that they're gonna do for this weekend. Looks like it's provided some help. They're increasing their reliance on outsourcing, with
Mhm.
I think around $20 billion on new factories within the next 3 to 5 years. That could help address this, chip shortage that we're having right now. Um,
Yeah, they're
yeah,
increase their production, I guess.
yeah.
Um,
And I know
so
you know
another
more about Warren Buffett. I didn't really read about that a lot.
So yeah, so you know how the whole Texas thing happened with their whole energy grid crisis. Um, Warren Buffett basically came out and said he's pitching some plans to build some new power plant that would run during these emergencies, right? That we had when it snowed in Texas and there was
Yeah.
this huge freeze, and we had a complete. They had a lot of failures in their energy grid. So Warren Buffett's coming out and saying that yeah, he has some plans, and that would be interesting to see. And he
Jeez.
also he also bought like did he completely buy out Dominion Energy, or was it like a stake in it?
I think it's a huge stake, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so that could be like another big play
Yeah.
where yeah, so that's Warren Buffett's getting in. Whatever he gets in, I'm interested, so I'll be following this more.
Yeah, I mean, sucks that we won't be able to invest into it. Oh, actually, I don't know, think we put this in here, but isn't Robinhood, as well as SoFi, allowing retail investors to buy pre-IPO
Yep,
stocks?
that's right. So if you want to buy a stock that's pre-IPO, you basically buy it from the employee of the company who has stock options or the stock, or you buy it from some insider in there, right?
Yeah.
But and the go-to platform to do that is called Equity Zen. Now and to do that, I think you need to go through a huge process.
Yeah, you need a
You
certain
might
capital, you need certain
Yeah, you need a lot
funds.
of capital. I
Yeah.
think you need like over 25K or something. And I don't know if you have to be an accredited investor by the SEC or
I think
there's
you have to
just a
take
lot of
some
paperwork.
FINRA classes, maybe, if I'm not
Yeah, maybe.
mistaken.
Yeah, but it's really exclusive.
Yeah.
That's the point, right? So for Robinhood and what's the other platform you
SoFi,
said? Yeah,
Chamath's
SoFi.
thing.
Yeah, so for them to offer this, it's going to, I don't know, I think it's going to disrupt the pre-IPO place. It's going to, the volume's going to increase a lot, obviously, and there's going to be more activity in these stocks, and we could see, obviously this is going to increase speculation and more volatility
Oh
in
gosh, it's
pre-IPO
going to be
prices.
even worse than we have it now.
Dude, this just reminds me, so the market opens at 9:30 and closes at 4, right? And then all these brokerages started to have after hours trading, right?
Those
And then
5 minutes, fam, from 4 o'clock to 4 or 5. Why can't we trade? It annoys the crap out of me.
so
Why can everyone else trade?
right, so and then aftermarket volatility started picking up,
Uh-huh.
right? Aftermarket volume started picking up. Now it's kind of like aftermarket on steroids with what's going on with pre-IPO stocks, right? You're going to have an increased volatility. You're going to have increased volume,
Oh my
increased
god.
activity in pre-IPO. So
I don't
the
know.
stock
How
could fluctuate so much. I
how are
mean,
they
this
gonna
is
do it?
just
Because like the sector that involves themselves with IPO, it's called the equity capital markets, ECM for short. So they're the ones that help out with the IPO process. They make the prospectus, they send it off to the SEC, and then they themselves go out on a roadshow, which is basically going to different investment banks and saying like, how many shares of this company would you like to buy at pre-IPO? And they sell it to the buy side, like Fidelity, and like other private equity firms, hedge funds, for example, and so on. I don't know how Robinhood and SoFi. I guess SoFi I can kind of see, but I don't know how Robinhood is going to get into this. It seems too much.
yeah. Robin has to focus on going IPO first before they get into the IPO
Yeah,
space.
I mean that too, but I mean,
Yeah.
it seems too much for me. Like, is Robinhood themselves gonna like buy shares and then sell those shares to? Because investors themselves, they can't hold on to the shares. It has to be Robinhood themselves that give it.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know how they're gonna do that, especially with the lack of funding that they've been having, or the lack of, I guess, capital that they've been having.
They probably would have a partnership, something. Maybe like another
Maybe.
entity will own the stock, and then you buy it through Robinhood.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's probably what they're going to. They don't have the funding, obviously, to do this, to hold the stock at least. But because that's why the partnership sounds more likely, because Robinhood has a huge user base, obviously. And if they partner up with a huge bank to do this, then it's going to be win-win for both of them. So that seems more likely instead of Robinhood going solo on this, and maybe SoFi as well.
Yeah. All right, but I guess we can get into some foreign politics. Kind of switch gears.
Yep.
I think we can start off with a country that we haven't talked about before, Turkey. Interesting news coming out from there.
Yeah.
Their president Erdogan sacked another central bank.
Erdogan.
Yeah.
Erdogan. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Right,
the D is kind of silent, so you pronounce it Erdogan.
Wow.
Or sorry, the G is silent, so you pronounce Erdogan.
Never heard of this guy until like 3 days ago. So, I mean, he's saying to his, central bank governor. That's all I know about it. After a larger than expected interest rate hike, and I didn't even really want to talk about that. I just wanted to talk about this. Turkey's interest rate right now is at 19%.
Oh no, they're going through a huge economic deterioration right now.
I mean, I know it's bad, but like their inflation is at 15%. It increased 2 months. I mean,
this is something not to laugh about.
Oh my! And then the reason that this man gave was, hiking interest rates caused inflation to rise. What? This man.
That's completely the opposite.
Oh, and the new guy
increase your interest rate to fight inflation. Goddamn.
And the new guy himself. I'm gonna shock this name. I'm gonna pronounce it so bad. Kavcioglu, whatever. He's the new appointed head of the central bank, and he's had similar, I guess, monetary approaches, beliefs that are expressed by the Turkish president. Which, I mean, it's gonna be the next Greece. I mean,
these guys. I mean, look. These guys don't know how to run a country. Erdogan is focused on doing proxy wars in Syria. He's focused on buying weapons from other countries instead of focusing on his own country. And this is just negligence on the highest level.
Oh goodness.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's the Turkish people that suffer. I mean, that's the sad part, right?
Yeah.
So this is, I mean, they're I think what was it? I don't know the currency name, but it's been so devalued, and inflation's just insane right now. And it's not even slowing down. It's growing exponentially. That's a scary part with Turkey. So
I think their currency is lira. I remember seeing it because I was just like, why the hell is this so devalued? Man, it's insane what they're doing.
This could definitely end up like Venezuela in the next few years, or like,
I think they might default. I mean, the amount of foreign investors that have, invested in this country just for like the interest rates, I don't think they can sustain it. It might just be the next Greece instead of the next Venezuela.
Yeah. They're going on their direct collision course for
especially with the way they're managed. I mean, their leadership they're as smart as Greece's was. So, I mean, no good news coming out of there, and no good news coming out of Israel as well. Gets even worse there with their latest election. I think this is the third one in 5 years, or is it the fifth one in 30 years?
Yeah, they have freaking elections this year. Looks like it's too close to call. It's like razor thin, and Netanyahu is trying to retain power. So it's very, very it's a nail biter there.
Yeah, he needs I think 10 votes right now from the rest of the parliament. But no one else wants to really support him because of his corruption charges that came about I think 2 years ago or last year, something like that.
Right. I mean, he's got a lot of corruption charges and things like that, but he's never been like convicted on any of them.
No, of course not.
And also he's kind of he's kind of like Trump. He's really conservative. He's hyper partisan, and he's taking a very
anti-Palestinian. That's really it. I mean,
he's not. I mean, I don't think politicians are openly anti-Palestine.
But like, everyone knows.
They're not like, hey, I'm gonna kick out Palestinians.
But everyone still knows.
Like, right. So with their like what they're doing on like the housing in the West Bank and things like that. So He's really hawkish on a lot of things, including Iran. He's trying to, and like Saudi Arabia, right? That he's trying to broker like deals with Saudi Arabia and the U.S. and try to create he's trying to bring U.S. and Saudi as a coalition against Iran. So yeah, I mean, people are maybe, I don't know about his approval ratings there, but I guess these are all factors in what Israeli people are saying. So.
Yeah, and I mean, his opponent Lapid, I think he's the more of the centrist guy, and he's failing to even gain votes himself, because even the the anti, I'm gonna botch this name as well, Netanyahu party, they don't want to even vote for him. So yeah, Netanyahu. All right, thank you. Yeah, I think something that we didn't mention last week is eToro is planning to go public on the Nasdaq through a SPAC, and they're kind of a competitor to Robinhood in a way. They're focused on social trading, multi-asset brokerage company, and they're providing financial and trading services a lot like Robinhood, and they're based out of Israel, so they're more focused on
and Coinbase too. They also provide crypto trading.
Yeah, so
eToro's interesting, right? Because basically, you can copy anyone's portfolio on that app, and you can copy any. So if there's a guy who's a high trader, who's a high profile trader, who has a high success rate, and you can pretty much see what he's doing. You can look at his portfolio, his or her portfolio. You can look at his or her trades, and that's the whole platform eToro. It's just like a huge community, and you can create. It's kind of like Twitter and a brokerage combined.
Yeah.
So that's the distinctive factor of eToro, characteristic of eToro.
It'll be interesting to see where they take it. But I guess last news, we gotta obviously go back to China, like we do every week. And this deal actually came in last night. And it's their new economic security agreement that they've brokered with Iran. That's going to challenge U.S. security, especially as it's reported. I guess this was reported last year, so they could have changed it. But China is going to invest in projects from nuclear energy, ports, railroads, and other infrastructure for the Iran's oil and gas industry. They're going to provide some of their military technology to them and investments. And in return for that, China is going to get Iranian oil. They're going to have some say in their news agency, and they're going to establish a new bank.
This is significant news. I don't think people know the magnitude of what's going on here.
I was shocked when I saw this. I mean, especially with the new nuclear talks that U.S. is having. I mean,
China's trying to avoid that. They don't want in China's interest. It would be better for U.S. not to have nuclear talk with Iran, and for the Iran and nuclear deal never to come back. That's what China would ultimately want.
Yeah, but still, like, to see this, I mean, I don't know why this isn't headline news. This is huge.
This is insane. For China and Iran, if they create like a huge partnership in this Middle East, first of all, this is gonna increase tension by a huge magnitude between U.S. and Saudi Arabia and Iran and China, and they're going to be sharing intelligence. They're going to be sharing weapons, and also the significant thing about this is going to actually boost Iran in terms of oil and gas, right? They had some I think some sanctions and some restrictions against Iran to be able to sell oil, and China's going to be a direct purchase, right, to Iran. And for Iran's oil revenue is going to go up. They're going to get military technology. They're going to get infrastructure. It's
ridiculous.
This is insane, because this is exactly what the U.S. did with Saudi Arabia a century ago. They went to Saudi Arabia, they gave them infrastructure, they took their oil, they gave them weapons, and China is following the same footsteps what the U.S. did with Saudi Arabia a century ago. So if Iran grows to a huge power, I think they have the 6th largest military in the world. So if they grow to a large power to be able to intimidate Saudi Arabia to and maybe and this is going to cause first fear for Israel and Saudi Arabia, and it's definitely going to end in some major conflict. So China's trying to gain control in the Middle East by doing this, and Iran's going to ultimately grow more in power because of this. So it's gonna be insane to see how this all unfolds.
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean, man, it's insane. I really didn't think this would happen, but yeah, who knows? Maybe they might even broker some deal with Iraq in the future then, if Iran's playing.
Iraq's a wasteland. I'm sorry.
I mean, you never know. I mean, they could.
Yeah, well,
We'll see, though. I think that does it for us this week, though. I know Lights Out is in 2 minutes, so we gotta get on
right.
to F1 now. But
We have F1. I mean, Max Verstappen's gonna clap today.
let's hope we're not jinxing
This is this. I don't want to get into F1 too much, but this is the first time I think Red Bull got pole position in since 2013.
Yeah,
right?
it's like for their opening race, and
Right.
six cars were within a second of pole position yesterday.
Yeah,
It's
gonna be
a
an insane
crazy.
race.
We gotta
It's gonna
go.
be crazy.
But thank you guys so much for watching. If you're on Spotify, make sure to follow us. If you're on YouTube, make sure to leave that like and subscribe to us. And we will see you guys next week.